For the last couple of years now, I've been doing a short lifespan legacy challenge, and whilst it is chaotic and whilst most of the time it makes me feel like I physically want to rip my hair out, even before I got the haircut. Thank you all so much for the comments on that, by the way. Love it. But whilst partaking in the Nightmare Legacy Challenge, you have to complete 3 skills. You need to get them to a level 10. So over my 7 generations that I've done so far, I've focused on an awful lot of skills, and I like skills. You know why I like skills in The Sims 4? Because usually skills lead to hobbies, and I'm a hobby truther. I love hobbies within the game. I love giving my Sims something to do in their free time. I love tying their hobbies into their career. Anything that my Sims are passionate about, I stand with them 100%. I support my Sims' rights and their wrongs. So today, I figured, why don't I go over every single skill that we have so far up until the end of the year of 2024 in The Sims 4 and tier rank them. Basically, this is me just like judging Sims 4 skills for probably something like an hour because I love a good little yap sesh. First up, we have liar, actress. This obviously came with The Sims 4 Get Famous. I actually think this skill is held back because of the acting career. I actually think this skill barely offers anything outside of the acting career. So you can work on your acting skill in a mirror, on a microphone, and then once you start to level up, you can perform scenes with other Sims. You can perform romance scenes. So I know for all of you who are like me and are shipping Kate Fi, is that how you pronounce it? I've not actually listened to anyone pronounce their ship name. I've got very into Arcane. Sorry, I am going to be talking about it an awful lot for probably the next 3 months. It is just Arcane brain rot, Life is Strange brain rot, and soon to be Dontnod's new game, Lost Records brain rot. It's all going on in here. There's a lot of gay feelings happening, and I'm okay with it. If you want to act out those scenes between Caitlin and Vi, you can. And then also, as you start to level up, you can actually save conversations. So you can save unpleasant conversations. You can save, like, acting not embarrassed. But that really doesn't do a lot, does it? Like, I feel like conversations and conversation topics aren't strong enough in The Sims 4 anyway. So acting, I'm so sorry to this man, but you're going in tragic clown. I feel like these masks are going to curse me. With this skill, obviously, it helps you explore the jungle to its fullest. It helps you find better treasures. It helps you be able to like excavate more quickly. What I actually do like about this skill is the fact that you can use the totems alongside this skill. So you can start to refine your crystals, or you can send them off for refinement and they'll post them back to you. And then you can start using the totems that you find. And some of the totem powers are really cool. So I actually think the totems bring this skill up a little bit. You can also, at level 8, write an archaeology book. And if another Sim reads that, it acts as a skill book, which barely happens in The Sims 4. I don't think it's the most game changing, so it is going in crumple bottom. Baking came with Get to Work. I honestly want to knock it down a peg or two based on how big the object was. That massive cupcake machine. They have got rid of that. It's now no longer a necessity unless you want to feel like you're owning and running a factory. So you can now just bake cupcakes actually in the oven. Oh my god, everything reminds me of Vi. Unpopular opinion, I feel like most people forget that baking exists. I probably only really like it. 1, because it feels like an extension of cooking, and 2, I like bringing baked goods over to my Sims friends and family. Like if we're going for a party, if we're going for an event, I will usually have my Sim make some baked goods. It just feels like kind of a homey skill. It makes me feel all warm and fuzzy inside. However, I desperately wish that there was an aspiration that was tied to baking. I wish that there was like a baker career. I know it came with Get to Work. I know you can own your own bakeries, but I just kind of wish that you could become like a patissier. Is that what I'm thinking of? Like, I would love it if you could become a famous baker. It also doesn't really come with many unlocks. At level 3, you can actually decorate cookies, cakes, and cupcakes with like icing to, I think, maybe increase their quality. It is just gonna go in crumple bottom. Even the baked goods that you can create, at least with cooking, there's like a couple of like powerful dishes that you can make. Baking really is just for like the home comforts. I love how I found a way to hate every single one of these skills. Bowling is brought down by the fact that bowling just takes so dang long in The Sims 4. I reckon I could take my laptop to a bowling alley. I could start my sim in like a 10 bowl game, and I'm fairly sure I would be done with a bowling match before my sims finished it in normal speed. It kind of just changes the animations. You can actually go for a perfect llama, which is a 10 strike game, and that actually unlocks a trophy. I think that might only be available at level 5, but that is just all like randomized. You obviously do get some, I think, create a sim unlocks, like the little bowling gloves. Tommy Oaks fans, I'm looking at you directly. Yes, I am calling you out. It doesn't feel quite as bad as acting, but it's definitely not like a standout skill. The Rizmaster Charisma. One, I personally think of the easiest skills to get up in The Sims 4 because it's done and built by so many different interactions. You can smooth apologize, which basically means if you've like flirted awkwardly or you've said something that's made someone feel uncomfortable in a conversation, you can just be like, oh, I'm so sorry for saying that. Let me give you a smooth apology. And they're like, oh yeah, I love you. I'm all in. And then as you get like higher and higher up, you can even negotiate promotions with your boss, which is so helpful. You can also loan money from Sims. This is the first one that's actually going up into Motherlode. Maybe I knock it down to Rosebud for the fact that they used shutter shades. They honestly should have just added one of those like chains with like the mustache on, and that would have been peak 2014 energy. Comedy. I mean, another one that you can get up through social interactions. If you do funny interactions, I feel like your comedy skill does go up quite quickly. However, when it comes to being a base game skill, and I actually love a lot of the base game skills. I mean, that was just shown by Charisma. They usually are quite fleshed out. They usually have a lot of unlockables that come with them because the base game was the base game and they needed a way to make it feel better, and they fleshed that out with both jobs and also skills. But comedy just isn't that great. You can perform comedy routines as you start to go up in your comedy. Again, this is another one that I feel is slightly hindered by the fact that it actually does have a career, because the comedy outside of like the comedy career doesn't really make sense. You can be basically like a freelancer comic. You can write different routines and then perform them on a microphone, and Sims can give you tips for that, but I just feel like it's not that interesting, so it's going in Grim Reaper. I've already ranked hobbies, so this is kind of like an updated version of this, but I always say cooking is just cooking in it. Like, maybe it's just because I don't have a lot of love for cooking in real life, but cooking is just one of those things that your Sims have to do so that they survive. I do like that it unlocks different foods. I always kind of enjoy having chefs in my game. I do feel, again, that like my Sims are quite passionate about it, and I can usually like write that into stories when I do have a Sim interested in cooking. I also like the addition of like festivals and food stalls and how you can learn recipes from those. It is probably one of the biggest skills we have, in the sense that like the more you unlock, obviously the more dishes you have to create. However, there's actually not a lot of rewards for it. You can sell cupcakes to a bakery for extra simoleons at level 9 of the cooking skill, and apart from unlocking new foods, you don't really see a lot of stuff. I think I'm gonna put cooking in I feel like it should just be an average. Cross stitch is only a level 5 skill, which is half of what we are used to. However, I absolutely love the cross stitch. I love being able to cross stitch from reference. I love the different patterns that you can do. I love having these as decoration. I am a crafty girl first and foremost. The skill itself is also quite difficult to get up. Have they fixed the glitch where your Sims just want to craft all the time? Or maybe that was from an NAP. It could have been from the creative NAP, which I wouldn't have been shocked about. I feel like any creative aspect when you have that like creativity NAP on is just the bane of your entire game because it's all Sims want to do. If you're ever noticing Sims doing something weird and like consistently doing an activity, make sure you check what NAPs are active in your neighborhood. I actually did a whole video about that. What I also like about this, obviously it came with cottage living, but I actually didn't know. I found this out whilst I was researching it for the purpose of this video because I wanted to remind myself of all the unlocks. You can actually unlock different patterns by doing certain errands, which I think is so fun. I had no idea that that was the case. I love having unlockables that also depend on like another aspect of gameplay. I think it makes a skill quite interesting. I don't think it's quite as good as Charisma, but she is going in Rosebud. It's going straight into Tragic Clown. It doesn't add anything to the game. Your sim can dance on a dance floor, they can do group dances, they can show off, and they can do a dance battle. And apart from that, all is really changed is the animation of how they dance. Yes, they can do the smustle, which potentially could apply up to a Grim Reaper, but I don't think it's enough. I just think dancing in this game is atrocious. I feel like they could do a lot more with the dancing skill, but it heavily relies on new animations, and I feel like new animations are probably one of the most time-consuming and expensive parts of The Sims 4. But imagine if you could learn like different types of dancing. Like imagine if you could have like a salsa date. It's just so underutilized. It's like, yeah, let's go to a club and dance because this is a young adult simulator and has been for the last 10 years. However, DJ mixing, on the other hand, love of my life. I really enjoy DJ mixing. Maybe it's because I was heavy in my Pitch Perfect era when Get Together came out, and I was just like, I'm going to be a DJ like Becca. My sim in Get Together, if you didn't know this, the DJ was actually heavily inspired by Anna Kendrick. You can like kind of make different mixes and you can perform like different genres. You can license mixtapes. Okay, I thought I remembered like fully making a career out of this. I love skills that kind of allow you to have either a secondary income or a side hustle. I know we shouldn't be supporting the grind, but I love being able to like work your own hours, and I think this has the freedom for that. So actually this is going also into Rosebud. I like a skill that offers me basically a career. Ooh, I just said that with my whole heart and now I'm looking at the entrepreneur. One doesn't help that I can't say that word. I don't know why. I mess it up every single time. This came with The Sims 4 high school years. Obviously it has a lot to do with like trendy and also the live streaming element of that pack, which by the way, I still hate that there's so many different social medias, so many different forms of like YouTube and uploading and live streaming. Like they need to just build them all up. You can create business plans with the entrepreneur skill. You can also try and get investor funding, which is quite fun. You can also attempt to go on Llama's Lair, which is basically the Sims 4 version of Dragon's Den. This is quite an interesting skill in how you build it, and it feels like it depends on like a lot of other skills and like what your sim is doing and like when they are doing it, which I actually enjoy. I just kind of wish that it was a little bit bigger. I wish that it was a level 10 and that it had more to offer. I think it genuinely has the potential to be a really cool skill, but they just didn't push it like as far as I would want them to. And I think for that reason, it's going into Crumple Bottom because it kind of just fades into the background. Fabrication, easy. The fabricator machine, don't get me wrong, annoys me to hell and back. I absolutely, if I could fight an inanimate object in The Sims 4, it would be the fabrication machine. And honestly, I'd probably get my ass handed to me because the amount of time it's fought my Sims and my Sims has lost. And they have way more of an athletic skill than I do. I love being able to make our own furniture. I love that you can make different candles. I love the dyeing element. I do wish that you could actually like restore stuff on the fabricator, or like with the fabrication skill or the handiness skill on the woodworking table. Like if you find broken objects in dumpsters, because obviously this came with Eco Lifestyle, I wish it had that element where you could do like restoration. I think that would be really cool, and honestly would probably make this an even higher top tier. Ice skating is actually a hidden skill. It just affects how well your like Sims can skate on the ice or the roller rink that obviously comes with the Sims 4 Seasons. And for that fact, it's going in Tragic Clown because it's hidden and it doesn't really matter. And I kind of wish that we had roller skating, and I am holding that against this skill. Fishing, you can obviously fish and then you can sell, you can mount your fish, you can put them in a fish tank. At level 9, you can angle for big catches, which is usually like the bigger and rarer catches. I don't mind fishing as a skill, but I just kind of feel like it's there, like if you have someone who enjoys fishing. Therefore, I like having a collection when it comes to a skill, but it's nothing special. Fitness is actually one of the most boring skills in this entire game, speaking my truth. And I always hate how it's like such a base game skill, but it doesn't allow you to do anything. Like I enjoy having my Sims go out to the gym or just have like a punching bag. I like having that like as a hobby and as an activity that you can do. But for one, I feel like fitness is like too all-encompassing for like a lot of different activities. I genuinely think we should have a swimming skill. I think Sims that have like a lower like swimming skill should actually struggle in a swimming pool, but it's all tied to fitness. I just think it's a bit naff. You can practice fighting, which doesn't do anything. It just plays the fighting animation, and then you can mentor other Sims. So I guess you could kind of become like a gym instructor, but you don't get paid for that. Flower arranging, tip top, motherload, straight there, in you go. I love flower arranging. I think flower arranging is honestly one of the most OP skills. I think people very much underestimate flower arranging or just kind of forget like the powers that flower arranging has. Once you start to like level up and you can start to scent your flowers, they all have, well, not all of them. Well, actually they do, but some of them are just like tied to emotions. They all have powers. So you can make Sims feel like a certain way, which, you know, I don't care about emotion system in this game. I think it's broken. I think it's messy. But if you gift a death flower scented bouquet at level 9 to a Sim, then you can actually, like, that Sim can pass away because I think they age up like upon receiving that gift. So obviously if you give that to an elder, I'm just saying, maybe you want to go and test it in your Black Widow challenge. If you scent it with bluebells, it means that they don't degrade over time, so you can just have like an everlasting flower bouquet. If you use crocuses, those of you who enjoy playing with bees from Seasons, that keeps the bees in a good mood. It keeps them calm. And I know that you need that because everyone suffers with bees and they hate us. But if you haven't played around with flower arranging for a while, definitely get into it. Test it out. You'll have some fun. Gardening is weird because it's one of those skills that has like been updated and upgraded over time. Obviously, it got like a heavy facelift with The Sims 4 Seasons. I can't actually remember what that introduced. Obviously, plants are now affected by seasons, which is just annoying. I like having a garden. I don't know if the gardening skill is what makes that interesting, you know? Like I do enjoy that it unlocks like different things to help you out in the garden. I love having like the weed all area. I love being able to find different seeds. But in that concept, it's kind of exactly the same as like cooking and baking. Like working on your gardening skill kind of just allows you to make your garden bigger and like better. And so therefore it is just like an average skill to me. Gemology, I really enjoy. Again, another skill that I personally found like quite difficult to get up to like a level 10, but I love the outcome of it. I obviously love that the gemology skill allows you to make different types of jewelry. I also think that tied in with the different types of crystals and the different types of powers, it kind of has the same essence of flower arranging. I just don't think it's like as good. Gourmet cooking, I mean, it is just a branch and offshoot of cooking, isn't it? It gets up really easy, by the way. Can I just talk about that for a minute? Whilst I was doing the Reaper's Reward, my Sim would finish a gourmet dish and it would jump up by like 20%. I like that it does offer you the chance to make ambrosia. I kind of think it's a little bit more interesting. Maybe it's just because it has more interesting food. Maybe because it does actually allow you to make ambrosia. I think it has a little bit more pizzazz than home-style cooking. Guitar, I mean, you can write songs, you can license them at level 9, which obviously earns you a little bit of income. It can can kind of be a side hustle. I hate the fact that we don't have a bands pack, and I hate that there's not different types of guitars, or even if they just sounded different in the game. I don't even care for different skills. You know what? Don't flood the skill panel with that, but just make them sound different. Like, I really don't think it would be that difficult maybe to record different sounds for whether a guitar was electric or we don't even have bass guitars. I need more instruments in general, but I don't feel like the instrumental skills are the most interesting. I kind of wish that we had a system in like Get Famous that we had in The Sims 3. Why can I not remember Showtime, where you could go and perform gigs. I think that would be really sick. I think that should come in a bands pack, and I will die on that hill. But this is actually going into average. Yep. I don't think it's as bad as these two, but that's probably just because I quite enjoy like having musical Sims more than I enjoy like having Sims who are good at comedy. Handiness, straight up there. I love the handiness skill. I will die on this hill. I think she's great. I will probably have a sim be good at handiness in like every single save that I ever play. The woodworking table still needs justice, and I'm still out here fighting for it. It might be happening. We did actually see some clutter collected on a woodworking table in one of the Life and Death trailers. I don't know if they were trying to be like, Molly, we're trying to catch your eye. We're working on it, babes. Or I don't know if I'm just tricking myself into thinking that that is the case. I love how many different objects it affects. Like, obviously, you can use it on the weather machine that we got in Seasons. You can upgrade PCs. You can receive more TV channels if you upgrade your TV. I just wish that you could make more on the woodworking table. But overall, I think handiness is one of the most helpful and honestly kind of one of the more fleshed out skills. It also allows you to get into Forgotten Grotto. And if you upgrade your PC with like a graphics card and something, I think it's like the RAM, then you can gain more fun whilst playing video games. It just slots quite nicely into like other skills and like other hobbies that your Sims can get into, and I love that. Holding the entire game up on its back. Herbalism is a skill that I barely play with, and you want to know why I barely play with it? Because it is really restricted. You have to get all of the ingredients from Granite Falls. Now that you have seasons as well affecting the outdoor retreat world, it means that not everything grows when you want it to. Insects have different spawn rates at like different times of the day and at different like parts of that world. I wish we had those insects available in different worlds. Like, I wish they allowed those spawners, kind of like how in Eco Lifestyle, I wish that they had dumpsters in different worlds. I wish that you could find insects in more places, because I would honestly use the herbalism skill so much more if that was a possibility. I hate having to travel to Granite Falls to be able to do this, and then also maybe not even find what I'm looking for, because I actually quite like the stuff that you can make with herbalism. You can help with like plant evolution, you can help with like different moodlets. Juice fizzing, I mean, mainly plays with emotions, which is unfortunate. It is obviously just all about making different types of juices. You can make kombucha, and you can make different types of these things. Like, if you use the bizarre fruit, then Sims can actually become possessed, so it's not all about emotions. I feel like nectar making kind of does this a little bit better. I feel like this was underbaked. Although, you can actually make Grim Butcher, which I've never made. I actually want to do a video this upcoming week about all the things that relate to the Grim Reaper that I have never really explored. It's going in Tragic Clown. I think she's forgettable. Knitting, get up there. I love that you get a piece of clothing. It unlocked in Create a Sim. I love that it gives babies like new baby grows. I love that it adds to the build buy mode. I love that it adds to Create a Sim. It's one of those skills that just feels really well-rounded, and they knew what they were doing with it. That is why I voted Nifty Knitting. That is why I rode hard for that when we did all of our surveys. Logic, you can analyze things, which obviously gives you like the plant samples and the crystal samples, which is quite fun because that unlocks obviously like different prints that you can have up on your wall. Wish you could resize those prints though. They are the biggest fucking thing in the entire world. Just like everything in The Sims 4, so oversized, so unnecessarily large. You can also quell anger at Logic level 10, which I did not know that that was a thing. Logic is kind of those ones that just like fades into the background for me. I do like the analysis, but that's pretty much the only fun thing about Logic, so it's gonna go in Crumple Bottom. Media production is gonna go into Rosebud, only because it takes a really, really long time to actually create, you can get signed to a record label and you can release your mixes. I think it's sick. Obviously, this also does go for the video production one where you can like be a YouTuber. Again, this would be a skill, I would say, if you haven't played around with this for a while. And if you do have Get Famous and Get Together, play around with those two. Like, be like a DJ music producer. It's a really fun storyline, and I always love this skill when I do end up playing with it. The medium skill, I wanted to love it, but honestly, underutilized in my personal opinion. Like, you can summon Bonehilda. You can also, at level 5, you can start like a summoning circle or like a seance circle like anywhere. So obviously you can do like seances on like haunted lots, but I think it's so codependent with the paranormal investigator career. Like on a home lot, or like if you're not living in a haunted house, the medium skill kind of doesn't do anything. I kind of wish that they had maybe tied it to tarot a little bit more. I wish that you could like speak to like Sims who have passed away from other Sims. Like, say if you had a friend and then like one of their family members passed away, imagine if a medium could then use the medium skill on that Sim, and then that ghost would appear for the medium but not for the Sim you were talking to, and they could like pass on messages from the dead. I think it was very, very underutilized. Mischief, you can get a voodoo doll, you can play hooky, and you can do pranks. Like, it unlocks kind of different pranks, and that's about it. Mischief, I'm going to put in Grim Reaper. I just don't think it's that interesting. I always say it, but I always think things should be more detrimental. I always think there should be a bigger risk in The Sims 4. I swear there was a mod that when you like handshake, like electrocute someone, if you did that like 3 times over, the Sim would pass away. Why don't we have that in the game? Mixology, I actually didn't know this, but as I was researching, apparently, because there's not like a mixology course that you can do in Discover University, if you sit in on 11 skill classes about mixology at university, you can get a mixology certificate, and that actually unlocks even more drinks available to you on the bar. I want to do a video based on the research that I did of this, of like things I didn't know about the game, because I fully that went straight over my head. I've never heard anyone talk about that. So big thank you to the person that brought it up on the forums or Reddit. I do like at level 10, there is Beetlejuice. And if a Sim drinks that 3 times over, then they pass away, which is just great. There's also like different drinks. You can get the Snaggle Fluster. It just sounds rude. But you get that by doing the mythical drink guide, which sounds like something that was created by Rhett and Link. And that actually helps you, I think, for 3 hours on all your skill gain. So I actually think mixology is like more OP than like cooking and fishing and gardening. So it's going up in Rosebud. Nectar making I enjoy, but it is just like a level 5 skill. You just get nectar out of it. I do like the vitality nectar. I also like how it is linked to occults, but I don't think it's the most interesting skill that we have. I kind of wish that there were way more nectar available. I like the aging process, but that actually doesn't get up like your nectar making skill. So this is actually going into Grim Reaper. Painting just basically increases all the qualities of your paintings as you level up. Definitely not interesting. I like painting as a hobby, but as a skill, I really don't think it's that great. I'm trying to think of what else they could do with painting, and I feel like they could actually do a lot. Like, I feel like you should be able to like teach classes. I feel like something else should come with painting, kind of like with wellness. You should be able to like do stuff once you get up in that. This is going to be such an unpopular opinion, but I actually really love the parenting skill. I don't say that a lot about parenthood. I don't like a lot of parenthood. I'm going to be real with you. I think a lot of it fell flat for me personally, but I think the parenting skill is possibly the best thing aside from like journaling that came out of that pack for me. At level 10, you can just do like a quick flick of the wrist and your newborn is like perfectly fine, because you just do like a super efficient newborn care and it takes care of all of their needs, even though Sims are like newborns for like a day now. At level 5, you can unlock grounding. At level 4, you can unlock timeouts. Grounding means that you can like allow Sims to like not go outside apart from school and home. You can take their phone privileges or their computer privileges. Pet training, tragic clown. all you do is teach your pets how to do different tricks, which, like, I get it. That's what pet training is about. You can also like get them to attack other Sims. I think at some point, it might be level 3, it might be level 4. You can send them out to explore so they can find like little gifts for your Sim, but it's honestly useless. Why can we not like have our pets like have jobs or go to like competitions with them? Like, imagine having like an active like pet training competition. Like, I know even the horse competitions aren't active, but that would be so sick. Like, showing off all the tricks that you've taught them. There's no reason to teach your pet tricks in The Sims 4. Photography is also a bit naff, I'm not gonna lie. All that happens as you gain more photography skill is the fact that you can gain more money from selling your photos. It's actually going in Tragic Clown. Photos in general, photography in general needs a massive overhaul. Like, it's just absolutely atrocious. I've done a whole video about how bad photography is. It's so underutilized. I feel like they could actually make you like have different cameras. Like, if you had a film camera, Polaroids, develop your film. Maybe it's the fact that I'm in a relationship with someone who absolutely adores photography, and also I grew up with Life is Strange, a very pivotal moment in my life. I have a soft spot for photographers, and they were done so dirty. I apologize to every single photographer who's ever played The Sims 4. Tell me if I'm wrong here. Tell me if I'm jumping to conclusions. I feel like you as a photographer probably enjoy like the screenshot like photo mode that we ourselves have more than you enjoy actually taking photos within the game. Piano is just going in. Again, it's the same as guitar. Honestly, I'm kind of thinking of moving these down here just because they're not that, no, they still belong in Crumple Bottom. I feel like this is gonna be the biggest category because a lot of the skills are average. Pipe, organ, exactly the same. I mean, we may as well just throw violin in there as well. All the musical things are exactly the same. I really love programming. Now, it's not, I don't think, the most entertaining skill in the world, but you can hack using programming and that earns you quite a lot of money. Obviously, you can also do the freelancer career with programming. You can make your own video games. You can make your own apps. Like, it just makes you money, and I really like it as a skill. I think it's really interesting. I think programming and handiness like together, having a Sim who's like a really big gamer, like enters tournaments and stuff, and then also like a hacker on the side, would be so much fun. Research and debate, you can convince others, you can kind of influence them to do things. Most of the time, I will hold my hands up and say it doesn't work for me. You can also publish research papers. I can't remember if you get money for those. You can also work out a bonus with your job at level 9. And you can also, at level 10, you can professionally debate for money. So honestly, I don't think it's the most boring skill that we have on this list. I don't think I use it enough, honestly, to see what it's all about. I did use it in my short lifespan legacy. I enjoyed it, but I feel like it didn't really work all that well. It has potential. I just wish that being able to like convince Sims worked a little bit better. Horse riding, I don't think is any good. I don't like Horse Ranch as a pack, so maybe that's just on me. All it does is changes the animation, the way you ride your horse, which I know like in real life as you gain more confidence on a horse, like that is what happens, but it just doesn't really do much. Robotics, straight up into Motherload. I love being able to create servos. Robotics, again, with like video gaming, handiness, and programming, you have a super sim on your hands. So if you have a party bot, they like bring food when you're hosting a social event. They like make conversation with people. They like send out streamers to make people have fun. You can make gardening bots that help out in the garden. You can make cleaning bots that help out with like puddles and stuff. And then if you actually get into the, I think it's engineering, is it, as a job, you can unlock another couple of items. You can unlock a little suit that basically turns you into a servo and means that you can hover around like Iron Man. I love robotics and I will not hear a nasty word said about it. Rock climbing is the one that inspired this whole video because I posted over on my Blue Sky. Just saying, link down below. I am currently doing this in my current generation. It's the slowest skill to get up in the world. I absolutely hate it. I have beef with a rock face. I love rock climbing. I love the way it looks. I love having my Sims weirdly do rock climbing. I feel like it's such a fun activity. However, it's the slowest skill in the world. And also, I know you can do it on the fitness stuff pack like rock climbing, but that barely gets it up. It goes up faster if you're in Mount Komorebi, and I hate when a skill is tied to a specific specific world. It's what pissed me off most about Snowy Escape. Don't think it's in Tragic Clown only because I like the realism of it. I like that you can unlock different stretches. I like that you can unlock chalk. I like that having a higher rock climbing skill means that you can actually like tower the actual Mount Komorebi. This is actually, I hate it, but it's going in Rosewood. And I hate to say that. You hate to see it. Maybe not. Rocket science, I mean, fine in base game. You can do upgrades to your rockets, which means that you get like different space explorations and you can complete collections. But apart from that, that's really all it does. It works more so with the astronaut career. I do like how if you have get to work, you can put the wormhole generator on so you can travel to Sixum. It's going in Crumple Bottom. Romance skill, Tragic Clown. Unnecessary, not needed. Don't know why they added romance as a skill. I feel like they were making Love Struck and then they were like, shoot, we need something else to like help fill out this pack. Like, what are we going to add? Okay, let's just lock a whole bunch of these new romantic interactions, which is what the whole pack is about, behind a romance skill. So that means that people have to play, they have to progress. Salvadoradian culture skill. I actually really like this skill. Now, don't get me wrong. I think it is only a level 5 skill. And obviously, you're only really going to get this if you go to Salvadorada and like spend time there, but that's what I love. I love that this is brought up by like investigating, looking at and learning about Salvadoradian culture, like all of the statues, learning about it, like being hands-on in that world. It's kind of all the things that I hated about herbalism, but done well, because it encourages you to speak to the locals, and I love that. It also allows you to get new food and drinks at the stalls. It unlocks a new dance, and you can actually survive the jungle a little bit better once you reach level 5. This is actually going in Rosewood. It's a minor one, but I do enjoy it. I didn't realize that you can license songs that you sing. I did not realize that this was a thing. I barely ever work on my singing skill. I actually thought that this was a level 5 skill. This video is making me realize there are some sims, some like storylines that I need to play more in the game, because I haven't fully explored singing ever, I don't think. It was introduced with City Living, obviously, because we got karaoke. Kind of wish it was utilized more. Again, wish we had like a singing career. It does actually class as an instrument, I'm fairly sure, which like your voice is your instrument in the entertainer career. Correct me if I'm wrong on that one, but it is pretty much the same as all the others, so it's just going into Crumple Bottom. Apparently you can coach sims in skiing. Never done that. Also never done a ski class on the phone or computer, because I, again, have beef with Snowy Escape. Hate how limited skiing and snowboarding is. I was fully expecting me to be able to like live stream my sim going down the slope with one of the little drones. I was expecting that you could be able to get famous off skiing and snowboarding. Once I figured out that wasn't a thing, I rage quit. I literally didn't go back to the Let's Play because I wasn't enjoying it. Apparently at level 10 of snowboarding, you can upload snowboarding videos, which maybe earns you fame, but it just, neither one of these are good, in my opinion. Like, you just go down a ramp and cool. You're skiing, you're snowboarding. Nice for storytelling. Like, you do get a couple of interactions. You also unlock a couple of bits from Create a Sim, but I just think they could have done a lot more. Thanatology, I haven't played around with enough, honestly, so I kind of wish that I hadn't even included this. Obviously, this is new. Whilst I was in my early access, I didn't really notice it doing anything other than like speaking a dead language, which I find kind of cool, but it is just an interaction. Apparently, you can capture Essence of Life. I don't know what that does. So for right now, it's going in Crumple Bottom. Vampiric Lore, actually really cool. I like that this is a skill that you can work on by actually like buying tomes. Like, it feels like you're doing vampiric research yourself. It just unlocks like a couple of drinks that you can make for vampires. It doesn't really do all that much, but I like the gameplay side of it. I actually think it's quite an interesting way for them to make a skill. So that's why it's going into Rosewood. Doesn't give you the best rewards, but I just like the realism. Vet skill, all you can do is make vet treats, which like obviously is helpful if you have like pets in your household, but you can just go to a vet's and like buy those treats anyway. So this is very heavily dependent on whether you want your sim to be a vet. Video games. It's going into Motherload. I am a nerd. I understand. I play video games for a living. Might be slightly biased on this one. You can enter gaming tournaments. Actually, as you reach to like level 10, you can enter the pro like tournament for Hillcock 2, which is like the highest game, like that's like the biggest one. I don't think I've ever actually unlocked that. I don't know if I've ever seen my sim play that game. Let's be real, it's because I love my sims playing all like the My Sims and the medieval. I like seeing them play the Sims. I like breaking their little plum bobs with that. But you can earn up to 5,000 simoleons if you come first in that tournament, which I just think is so sick. And then if you get the like watch live streams option available, I can't remember what that unlocks at, you actually learn the video gaming skill faster from watching live streams than you playing it yourself, which I don't know, maybe I love that it relates to my job, but I just think that's really cute. It's neat. The wellness skill is one I always enjoy, and I actually think this is a little bit OP. I just love being able to reach level 10 and being able to teleport my sims. I don't know why I love wellness so much. I just love being able to have yoga in my game. I do it so frequently. The skill itself, like you unlock massage types, but at level 7 you can teleport yourself to Sylvan Glade, which I didn't even know was a thing. It's so weird, it's so random, but I really like it as a skill, so it's going into Rosebud. And then obviously now it's also tied to being able to like give manicures and pedicures. I feel like it's quite an important skill and I really enjoy it, which I know is an unpopular opinion because so many people do not like spa day. Writing, I also think is going straight up into Motherload, maybe because I love having authors within my game. Again, I love how this isn't dependent on the writer career. You can just be like a self-employed, self-published writer. If you want, you can do it on your own time, in your own way. You can like write only one genre if you want. Like for me, in my save file, Salim Benali, who lives over in San Myshuno, he's a screenwriter, and I love that. I love the storytelling that is available in the writing skill from all the different things that you are able to write. Also comes with really cool rewards. I think this is on par with like handiness and charisma when it comes to the base game skills. It feels like one that is really, really well written. You can write excuse notes for sims who go to school or work. You can write love emails. Kind of wish they were a little bit more interactive. I haven't done it for a really long time, but I feel like you don't particularly get pop-ups about them. They do affect your romance with the sim that you send it to, either positively or negatively, I think. At level 10, you can write the book of life. You can basically capture a sim's ghost in this book when they pass away, and then you can bring them back from the dead, which is sick. I obviously want to talk about that in my Grim video that I am planning. And then if you're in the journalist career, you actually can then just like write articles off your own accord. You can like interview sims and you can either slander them in an article or you can make like a positive article about them and you get money for that. There we have it. That's my tier ranking of all of the skills in The Sims 4. I would absolutely love it if you lot could do your own. I really want to see the comparison between these. I feel like skills are weirdly such a personal thing. Like, don't get me wrong, it very much depends on what kind of Sims you enjoy playing, the stories you like to tell, but I just think that so many people could have so many different opinions about these skills. So I'll actually leave a link to this tier rank down below. I'm really excited about that Grim video. I definitely need to get working on it. I know I haven't done loads of life and death stuff. Honestly, I feel like after playing early access, I just needed a little bit of a break, and I played Life is Strange and that gave me the break that I needed. So I'm definitely going to get back into some content regarding life and death. I want to play around a lot with like Rebirth and like a couple of storylines to do with Rebirth. So whilst I don't think I'm going to do like a fully dedicated like let's play to it, I definitely want to do like some mini series and like a lot of different like ways you could use the storytelling. I think that is where I will find my fun in this pack. So definitely stay tuned for that if you want to know more about life and death. Thank you all so much for tuning into this one. Let me know how you feel down below and I will speak to you all in my next one. Bye now.